Close your eyes now. Take a deep breath, slow and soft. And imagine, the day is ending. The last colors of sunset melt away, and the world grows quieter with every passing moment. Fields and hills turn shadowed, as if wrapped in a blanket. The air cools, carrying with it the earthy scent of grass, the faint sweetness of wildflowers, and the hush of night settling in. Beyond these hills lies a meadow known to very few. By daylight, it is ordinary, perhaps even overlooked, a place of tall grasses that sway gently in the wind, where bees hum and wild daisies open their faces to the sky. But when night comes, the meadow changes. It awakens, as though it belongs not to the day at all, but only to the night. Here, when the stars begin to rise, the fireflies gather. But they are no ordinary fireflies. The villagers call them the Firefly Calligraphers, tiny beings of golden light who do not drift aimlessly the way other fireflies do. Instead, they lift into the air in careful patterns, sweeping arcs, and graceful spirals. Together, they form glowing trails that twist and turn as though they are writing letters across the dark canvas of night. The villagers say that long ago, when stories were first told around the hearth fire, the Firefly Calligraphers were born from the very breath of those tales. Some say they are guardians of forgotten words. Others believe they are messengers from dreams. No one knows for certain, and perhaps it is better that way. One warm evening, a traveler entered the village near the meadow. She was a poet, though her voice had grown quiet. For many months, her parchment had remained empty, her quill untouched. Words that once flowed like a river had turned to stillness, and though she longed to write again, nothing came. The silence inside her felt heavy, like a locked door without a key. When she heard whispers of the meadow, of the fireflies that rode upon the night air, she felt something stir, a flicker of hope, fragile but steady, like a candle in a window. And so, when the sky deepened to twilight, she followed a narrow path toward the meadow. The world was hushed around her. Crickets sang in steady rhythm, and the distant call of an owl floated through the trees. Her lantern swayed at her side, casting a small pool of light on the path, though the stars above were already bright enough to guide her steps. At first, the meadow looked dark and still, a plain of tall grass, silvered by moonlight. But then, a spark, just one, hovering above a blade of grass. Then another, and another, tiny golden glows, rising gently into the air. The poet stopped, holding her breath. The meadow was filling with light, dozens of fireflies, then hundreds, rising together as though answering some silent call. Their wings shimmered as they lifted higher, forming streams of light that curled and bent into patterns too precise to be chance. The air seemed to hum with energy. Slowly, the glowing trails began to shape themselves into letters. The letters curled and bent, weaving into words, words into sentences, sentences into a script that glowed across the dark sky. The poet's heart ached with wonder. She had not expected this living dance of words. The sky turned into parchment. She watched as the letters curved into a message she could almost read. At first, it was a language she did not recognize, soft, ancient, like a song heard long ago. And then, as if the fireflies adjusted themselves for her eyes, the script shifted into words she understood. "Welcome, dreamer." The poet gasped softly. Her hand went to her chest. She whispered, "I am no dreamer anymore. My words are gone. My pages are empty." The fireflies swirled, breaking apart and gathering again, letters glowing brighter as they reformed. Slowly, their light spelled out a new message. The words are not lost, they are waiting. The poet sank to her knees in the grass. Her lantern swung gently, but its light was nothing compared to the meadow's glow. She closed her eyes, breathing in the cool night air, and listened. At first, there was only the sound of crickets, the whisper of wind through grass. But beneath that, she felt something more, a presence, quiet but vast, as though the silence itself carried meaning. The fireflies drifted higher, forming spirals that unwound into long lines of golden script. The poet followed with her eyes, reading each word as it appeared. Every heart carries an unwritten poem. Her throat tightened. She thought of all the days she had sat with an empty page, all the nights she had feared she would never write again. And yet, here was the meadow, here were the fireflies, reminding her that the poem was still inside her, patient and unforgotten. She lay back in the grass, the cool blades brushing her skin, and gazed upward. The fireflies continued their work, shaping verses of rivers and winds, of forests and mountains, of the laughter of children echoing through time. Each phrase glowed for a moment, then dissolved, as though drifting into the stars themselves. The longer she watched, the slower her breathing became. The weight in her chest eased, little by little, like frost melting in the morning sun. She no longer tried to remember her own words. She simply allowed the meadow to speak. And then, slowly, a final message began to take shape. The fireflies moved with great care, pausing between each letter, letting the words glow brighter and longer than before. Your silence is not emptiness. It is the pause before the song. Her eyes filled with tears. Not the heavy tears of sorrow, but soft ones, like rain falling on thirsty earth. She realized that her silence had not been the end. It had been a beginning. The breath drawn in before the verse. The stillness that comes before a story is born. The fireflies glowed warmly, as if pleased she had understood. For a long time she lay there, watching their golden dance until, one by one, they began to drift lower, settling among the grasses, their light dimming until the meadow returned to shadow. The poet sat up slowly. Her lantern was still beside her, but she no longer needed its glow. She carried her own light now, a flame that had been rekindled in her chest. She whispered softly into the quiet meadow, "Thank you for reminding me that even silence carries a story." And as she stood, turning back toward the village path, a few fireflies lifted into the air once more, just enough to shape one last shining word before fading into the night. "Begin." The poet smiled through her tears. She touched a word gently with her eyes, holding it close to her heart. Then she walked away, ready not to rush, not to force, but to welcome her words when they came. And though the meadow was still, the fireflies were never truly gone. They would wait for her return, just as they wait for all dreamers who wander into the night, searching not for answers, but for the quiet reminder that creativity never truly disappears. It only rests. So now, as you listen, let your own heart become the meadow. Let the fireflies of thought drift slowly, gently, across the canvas of your mind. Some words may glow brightly, others may fade, but all of them belong to you. Your silence, too, is not emptiness. It is only the pause before your song. Rest now, dreamer, and when you wake, perhaps the fireflies will still be with you, waiting to write the stories only you can tell. Good night.